And if profit is the difference between incomes and expenses, then obviously one side of the profit loss account will list out incomes, the other side will list out expenses, and then you total up the two sides. Is the right more than the left, or is left more than the right? Now, can you tell me what's a balance sheet? You see, unlike a profit loss account, the title tells you nothing. A balance sheet contains assets and liabilities. Let's fill up these boxes. Can you give me a few typical examples of expenses in any organization? I think if you're a manufacturing company, raw material would be one of the expenses. Irrespective of the type of organization you are, salaries and wages would be an expense. Then there are various kinds of selling expenses, there are various kinds of administrative expenses, and if you borrow money to run your business, interest would be one of the expenses, and many, many, many more. Give me one example of incomes. Sales, principally sales. What appears under the heading sales? Under the heading sales, we will show the income generated by doing those things that you're supposed to be doing. But sometimes organizations do earn money by doing things that they're not supposed to be doing. Like what? You may happen to earn some interest on money lying in the bank. Or you may happen to sell scrap. Or you may have sold some piece of property that you don't need anymore. You're not in the business of trading in property, but you happen to do it. When you earn income from non-core activities, such items appear under a heading called other income. Needless to emphasize, having said that the objective of setting up a business enterprise is to make profits, it is equally important that you make profits by doing those things that you're supposed to be doing and not doing those things that you are not supposed to be doing. What I'm trying to tell you is, even if you come across a highly profit-making profit and loss account, I think you should get very, very worried about that organization if you find that the bulk of the money has come from other income. It is essential that sales constitutes the largest chunk of your income, and the difference between right and left is called profit. This could be a positive figure, it could be a negative figure. If it is positive, it is usually printed in black ink. And if it is negative, it is printed in red ink. And therefore, there's a term in English which says, this organization is in the red. That means that figure is printed in red. That means it is making losses. I must also clarify one point. Non-accountants very often would ask, why have you written the word profit on the expenses side? Now, folks, this is a minor technicality. That in accountancy, all accounts should be balanced, which means the total written on both the sides must be the same. Now, when would you have made a profit? Only when, let's say, the income side total is 100 and the expenses side is 90. So you'll write 100 on both sides. And therefore, when an organization makes profits, necessarily by way of presentation, the figure of profit must appear on the expenses side. Conversely, if you make losses, the figure appears on the income side, can confuse non-accountants sometimes. In these sessions, I'm going to avoid as far as possible the use of jargon. But using a little bit of jargon, that number on the top right-hand side of the profit loss account, sales, is called the top line. And the figure on the bottom left-hand side of the profit loss account is called the bottom line. Now, can you tell me what is business all about? Are we in business to generate top lines, or are we in business to generate bottom lines? Folks, we are in business to generate bottom line. But it's amazing how many organizations concentrate, put in all their energies into the top line. And sometimes tragic things happen that the top line of the organization is going up and the bottom line is coming down. Folks, you have defeated the entire objective of setting up the business. Business is not about generating top lines, it is about bottom line. Of course, there can't be a bottom line without a top line. So top line becomes important. But when I emphasize on the profitability, what I mean is, we are not here to generate just about any kind of sales. We are only interested in those sales, on those terms, on those credit periods, which eventually result in a healthy profit. Sales is a means towards achieving an end. And the end is to have a healthy, a decent profit. But much more about this later.